Hey everyone, Coach Investor back with another video for you today. So in this video, we're going to talk about Airbnb and why I will be buying Airbnb stock. I know, very controversial since we're in the pandemic. Why should I buy a company like Airbnb? So we're going to talk about that. Some of you might know, yesterday they released their S1 filings for their IPO, but one key detail is missing, which is the actual price per share. But obviously, as we move closer to the actual IPO date, which is supposed to be later this year, so maybe December or something like that, we'll get all of the details available to us. Oh yeah, and before I forget, two things. First of all, congrats to all Tesla shareholders. We're finally going to get into the S&P 500. So if you're holding Tesla shares like me, congratulations. And second of all, for everyone that has been asking about the ARK Invest drama with Resolute, link to Chicken Genius's video is going to be down in the description below. So in this video, we're going to talk about the good and the bad and why I believe Airbnb is such a good company to have moving forward. But before I jump into that, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, help me reach 6,000 subscribers by hitting that subscribe button. And if you like these videos, leave it an early thumbs up as it really helps me outgrow the channel and get my videos out there. So without further ado, let's dive into this. Alright, so for those of you that don't know what Airbnb is, basically the name tells it all. Air is for the air mattress. B&B is bed and breakfast. It's a company that actually started based on that name. The two co-founders slept on an air mattress at somebody's house, and that's how they came up with the idea of air bed and breakfast. Now, fast forward 13 years later, there are 4 million hosts, 14,000 new hosts are joining the platform each month. There are over 7 million listings on Airbnb worldwide in 2020. There are 100,000 cities with active Airbnb listings. If you compare that to the biggest hotel chain out there, which is Wyndham, they only have 8,000 locations worldwide. So put that into your head. It's actually huge. Now, their main competitors are companies like Booking, Expedia, Hilton, Marriott, and also TripAdvisor and Google. And a fun fact most of you probably don't know is that Airbnb is actually one of the sponsors for the Olympic Games up until 2028. So obviously every Olympic village, etc. will have its housing sponsored by Airbnb. All right, so now let's jump into the key numbers from that S1 filing. So they've reported a net loss of $674 million in 2019 on revenues of $4.8 billion, which was pretty nice if you ask me. Thus far in 2020, the company has turned a net loss of nearly $697 million on revenue of only $2.52 billion. Obviously, we all know why this happened, because of our friend Rona. Now in Q2 this year, revenue plunged actually 67% compared to last year. But in June this year, revenue only plunged 30%. And that's when people started to reevaluate the company, because obviously, some of you might know, the company was valued between $60 and $70 billion 2 years ago. Then talks of IPO started and they started to be valued at $30 billion. Then Rona came into play and they suddenly slashed that valuation to around $18 to $20 billion. But right now we're back at over $30 billion of valuation because of the Rona effect and their V-shaped recovery. Because if revenue only plunged 30% in June compared to that 67% in Q2, some might think they might be getting to break even right now, as more and more people feel it's safer to go to an Airbnb if you still want to go domestically on holiday instead of going to hotels. It's also easier to clean an apartment than to clean a hotel. For a company like Airbnb and for other internet companies like you're seeing right here, Uber, Amazon, Alibaba, Bitcoin, all of those are changing the game. For Airbnb, they own no real estate. Netflix is not a TV channel. Amazon has almost no stores. Uber has almost no car, etc. So obviously moving forward, high-tech stocks, high-tech companies will grow much faster because they don't have all of those tangible assets that other companies or other hotel chains have. And to show you how big the hotel industry actually is, in 2019, you can actually see here, the industry is thriving and worth over $570 billion. Now the travel industry is worth around $1.6 trillion globally and accounts for 1/10 of the world's GDP. Now, I don't have to tell you this, but because of Rona, a lot of hotel chains are going to close permanently. And when these things close, obviously someone is gaining from that aspect. Obviously other hotel chains, but more specifically Airbnb. Airbnb is going to gain from this situation right now so much. People are underestimating their opportunity right here. Right, so I'm actually going to use my own personal experience for this example. So recently I went to visit my family, but obviously I did not want to live with them in the same apartment because who knows, because of my travels, I could have been infected. So we rented out at Airbnb. Now from the start till the end of my stay in the Airbnb, we did not see the host. He sent us instructions how to enter the apartment. Apartment was super clean, super neat, everything went perfectly. Again, self-check-in, so much easier in an Airbnb than in a hotel. And in hotels, there are hundreds of other guests, so you don't always know if everything is squeaky clean. In this apartment, you know perfectly that you are there, maybe your partner, whatever, is there as well. Everything stays clean. And then another opportunity for Airbnb is now that everybody is working from home, work from everywhere. You want to go on holiday, but you still have to work. Why not rent an Airbnb in a remote location, in another city, etc. There's Wi-Fi in most Airbnb locations, so perfectly. Again, Airbnb offers so much more than just regular apartments. It offers luxury villas. It also offers tree houses. It offers castles, boats, etc. So if you want to work from somewhere, but somewhere more exotic, so why not rent out an Airbnb? And then we've reached another important point, which is the Airbnb experiences. Now, obviously the online marketplace for experiences, because everything is going to happen virtually. So you have cooking classes, dancing classes, painting, magic, so many other things. You actually have virtual tours in cities, for example, in Prague, in Paris, etc. Everything can be done via the Airbnb experiences, because when you travel, for example, to Europe, to Paris, you want to experience maybe patisserie or some wine tasting or etc. So in normal times, you can do that in person. They'll arrange a tour. The host will arrange a tour, probably cheaper than with normal tour operators. Right now, everything is done virtually and it's actually working pretty well. Teachers implement that in their Zoom classes as well. So again, this Airbnb experiences is one added value for the whole Airbnb ecosystem, because they actually state that Airbnb is a place for experiences. It's not a real estate company. It's a company that wants you to experience something new. And obviously you're going to ask me the most important question. Are they making money? Is Airbnb profitable? So right now, no, they are not profitable, but they actually had a couple of profitable quarters in 2019 and in 2018 as well. And in my opinion, if some of the things go back to before the pandemic and they actually continue to grow and the adoption becomes bigger and bigger, I believe we can have profitable quarters in a couple of years to come. Probably 2025, there will be a profitable company if you ask me. And if they continue to grow as fast as they did before the pandemic, by 2024, they could actually surpass Marriott's $20.4 billion in revenue. All right, and lastly, they actually announced a 2-for-1 stock split. Obviously, this stock split is happening before it actually goes on the public market. So before the stock split, the shares were valued at around about $69 to $70. After the stock split, the stock will be valued at around about $35. Obviously, this is better for us investors who are wanting to buy the stock when it becomes public, because it's actually cheaper for us, for the cash that we put in, to buy actual shares of the company. But overall, it doesn't really change the valuation of the company. The same thing with Tesla, with Apple, nothing changes. It just becomes more available for retail investors. So right, so to conclude, in my opinion, the pandemic is actually something very positive for Airbnb, because in my opinion, they are gaining so much more market share right now than they did before the pandemic, because a lot of hotels right now are going to close their doors permanently. A lot of people are going to realize that actually going to an Airbnb is not that bad. A lot of people are going to realize that they can work from home and work remotely everywhere they want. So why not use an Airbnb? It's safer, it's cleaner, sometimes it's even cheaper as well. But there's also one risk to investing in Airbnb, is that they rely on the hosts. If there's no more hosts, no more Airbnb. If there are some bad hosts, bad experiences, people are not happy, people will stop going to Airbnb. Obviously, this happens with companies like Uber as well. Bad drivers, bad experiences, bad name for the company. But actually, Airbnb is already one step further, and they're already partnering up with some real estate companies to build their own hotels. I believe this will be the future of Airbnb. They will be building complexes in various cities around the world called Airbnb hotels or whatever, where you could experience a lot of things right there, probably like a cruise but on land. And that will be it for this video. If you liked it, consider leaving a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, hit that subscribe button. And as always guys, take care, stay safe, and see you all in the next video. Bye bye.